Porsche's been celebrating the 911's 50th birthday pretty much every day since 2013 began, and that's fair enough. It's a very, very big deal. But the old girl wasn't unveiled every day in 1963. It got its first official outing at the 1963 Frankfurt Motor Show. So, to celebrate that fact, we're taking a 911 from here in London all the way out to the 2013 Frankfurt Motor Show to celebrate its Lion King moment 50 years on. The 911 is the follow-up to the Porsche 356, the first car Porsche ever produced with any gusto, and its story is pretty awesome. The 356 was getting a touch long in the tooth, and Porsche needed a new car to keep the buyers knocking on their door. Now, after finding international fame with the 356, Porsche decided to go a little bit bigger and a little bit more refined with the new car, the 901. Now, I say 901, but I am of course referring to the 911. You see, Peugeot got a little bit snippy about the whole number zero number naming convention, and rather than just rename the car for France, they renamed it 911 for everyone. Now, the 911 shared a layout with its predecessor, but was a bit bigger and a little bit more refined. The car's designer, Ferdinand Butzi Porsche, was the grandson of Porsche's founder, Ferdinand Porsche, but unlike his grandfather and his father, also called Ferdinand, he wasn't an engineer but more a master designer, though he preferred to think of himself as a craftsman of shaping. Either way, his lines were and remain utterly stunning. The 911 was unveiled in 1963 and production began in 1964, and there started a legacy that few can match. Some of the models remain some of the most sought after and best in the world, like the 2.7 litre Carrera RS or the 930 Turbo. You get where I'm going with this. Now, 1974 saw a major aesthetic change for the 911. It had US crash regulation friendly bumpers put in, but pretty much every year after launch saw an incremental improvement or upgrade for the 911. 1981 saw the first ever 911 Cabriolet unveiled at the Frankfurt Motor Show. Again, it was an instant hit. 1989 saw the car evolve significantly. This generation, dubbed 964, saw the introduction of optional four-wheel drive, power steering, ABS, and a retractable spoiler that kept Butzi's lines clean when the car wasn't moving, but the car stuck to the ground when it was. Now, the car's four-wheel drive system was derived from the awesome 959 road and race car, and is proof that road cars really can benefit from motorsport. 1993 saw the introduction of the 993. Its look was inspired apparently by the 959 road and race car, and it had an upgraded everything. It's also got the honour of being the last air-cooled 911, something that its successor has leveraged against it. (1998) saw the release of the 996, the first water-cooled 911 and also one of the least attractive. Don't get me wrong, it still looks like a 911, but its headlamps make it look like it's crying. The 996, even though it's ugly as sin, won many design awards and once again made sure the 911 was top of any discerning buyer's lists. It came in many flavours, from four-wheel drive to turbo to GT2, drop top and. In 2003, the 997 was launched. Its look was inspired more by the 993 than the 996. It looked more streamlined, pure and 911-ish. As usual, it had more powerful engines, more economical, and plenty of upgrades all the way across the board. But the 997 also had an ace up its sleeve. It was the first 911 to feature the PDK dual-clutch gearbox. That gearbox is now pretty much the best thing you can get in a 911, according to many. At one point you could have 25 different models too. Oh, and you could get a GT2 RS version with 620 brake horsepower coming through the rear wheels. Walter Roll took me out in one once. It was quick. 2012 rolled around and this, the 991, appeared. It's more GT than sports car, but now that's a job for the likes of the Cayman and the Boxster. This one in particular is a Carrera S. Now in standard trim that has 400 horsepower, will do 0 to 62 in around 4.5 seconds and has a top speed of 189 miles an hour. Unless you spec the power kit, which we have in this car, that ups the power to 430, drops the 62 time to 4 seconds and ups the top speed to 191 miles an hour. And all of that doesn't affect the MPG. This thing will do around 30 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle, which is pretty impressive. Now, notable changes over the 997 are the size, the look, and of course the engine's more power, more economy, etc. And also the steering rack. It's electric rather than hydraulic. A point of contention for purists that, though having driven a 997 and a 991 back to back, I challenge a normal driver to take one out and try them both and then complain. That brings us neatly to the 2013 Frankfurt Motor Show, the 911's 50th, and yes, to celebrate the big day there is a 50th anniversary edition as well as a Turbo and a Turbo S, which mark their 40th anniversaries here as well. But also Porsche's brought along something that shows how far the company has come over all that time. This, the 918 Spyder. It's a hypercar, not a new direction for Porsche. Take a look at the likes of the Carrera GT and the 959 for reference, but it's part of a growing trend of technologically savvy speed machines. It'll be another bookmark in Porsche's history that shows just what can be done when boundaries are pushed forward yet again. The 918 is essentially a hyper hybrid. It's got a 4.6 litre V8, which coupled with a pretty beefy electric setup pushes out 875 brake horsepower. Now, that means it can do 0 to 62 in just 2.8 seconds, and its top speed, if you've got a big enough piece of tarmac, is 214 miles an hour. But a hypercar boasting big numbers is hardly a surprise, is it? So how about this? It'll top 85 miles to the gallon and emits just 70 grams per kilometre of carbon dioxide, and it looks like that. And it goes like a cat with a firecracker up its bum. And also you can drive at speeds of up to 93 miles an hour in full electric mode for around 20 miles. It's all seriously impressive stuff. Where the 911 arguably is the definitive Porsche, in the 50 years since its launch, the company has expanded, diversified and become synonymous with high quality, high performance and high core values. Today, 5 decades on from the 911's big day, Porsche's come out with something that is damn near the perfect car. It's fast, it's efficient, it's good looking. The only thing it can't do is fit a flat pack wardrobe in the back. Then it would be truly, truly perfect. What we have here, the tech inside it could one day make its way down into the 911, just as the 959's four-wheel drive tech did with the 964. Here's the next 50 years and whatever awesomeness they bring.